All right, I'm here with George Baker, FC United fan, former board member. I can't remember if you're in an official capacity at the moment, George.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a member, just a volunteer for the comms team these days.
All right.
Yeah, I've served on the board for a couple of years, 2016 to 2018.
Very good. Listeners may remember him. I talked to you about a year ago about where the club was and the various challenges.
Yeah, almost exactly a year ago, yeah.
Good. Well, it's good to check in. It's the 20th season of FC United coming up. Obviously, the United takeover happened in May 2005. I guess, that was the season it was formed, FC United. And thought we'd check in on where the club is at, what the plans are for the future, hopes, challenges, fears. Probably talk a little bit about the Manchester United takeover and how that has impacted, not impacted, FC United fans. So let's talk about the season just gone. 14th in Northern Premier League. It's it's one of those things with FC United. I guess 20 years ago, like looking at the Wimbledon model, we might be a rocket ship to the big leagues because FC United still get great crowds, but hovered around the Northern Premier for a while now. Is that a sort of natural setting? How's the season just gone? How's the fan base feeling?
Last season we were just outside the playoffs in the Northern Premier League, so went down to the second to last game of the season. This season we were pretty far off that, obviously I think it's the first time we finished in the bottom half of the Northern Premier League. So the season on the pitch didn't necessarily go as we wanted it to go. Certainly not in the league, at least. One of the trials and tribulations we're going to deal with is just the fact that non-league at this level, at level 7 of the pyramid, is becoming increasingly competitive.
Yeah.
There's some big clubs that have obviously gone out of business and reformed as Phoenix clubs, and are coming up the leagues. This season it was Macclesfield.
Yeah.
Although they didn't win the league outright, they won through the playoffs. But they were getting over 3,000 fans a game, charging 17 quid for admission, which for level 7 football is quite astonishing, really. But they just about managed to squeeze through, get promotion via the playoffs. And so, thinking about it, they'll be with us next season. Actually, they lost the playoff final. Forgive me. So we'll have Macclesfield again, and obviously there's Bury in the North West Counties League, the Premier Division, who also lost out in the playoffs. But it won't be long till we see them at our level as well, I suspect. And just there's lots of clubs who are attracting investment now that non-league has kind of taken off. Like a lot of football fans are getting disillusioned with football at the top level and going down to watch their local non-league club. Radcliffe, who are obviously a neighbour of Bury, they're the team that won our league this season. They've seen their attendances go up quite significantly and are now getting regularly over 1,000 people. Our attendances have levelled off at around 1,700, and we're always looking for people to come and join us. Really, like FC United, as you say, it'll be our 20th season coming up. And we're really excited to just keep on going. Our league's position this year kind of reflected the budget that we put into the playing side of things, though. As I mentioned the last time I came on this podcast, a lot of the money that FC United makes does have to be spent sensibly, in the sense that we still owe a lot of money on the ground that we built in 2016, Borders Park. But the playing budget is being increased for next season, because we do realise that we do have to, in order to be competitive, in order to push for promotion and play the attractive football that Manchester United are famous for, that means that a lot of United fans would want to come and watch us. In order to play that kind of attractive attacking style of football, we do need to increase the playing budget and be competitive. And maybe in our 20th season, we intend to do that, and hopefully in the next couple of years challenge for promotion back to the National League North.
Yeah, I noticed that FC United held a watch party for the FA Cup final. And, I guess it's still true that most FC United fans are also Manchester United fans in some fashion, and being
absolutely,
yeah, and it would be nice for more United fans to turn up on a Saturday, given that we're going to be Manchester United are going to be playing Thursday, Sunday all next season. There's a good opportunity to do that as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah, and it's something that I would recommend any United fan to come along and experience. So, as you say, the watch party, it was advertised just for United fans, and a good few thousand turned up, and it was great seeing our St Mary's Road end stand behind one of the goals just felt, full. The sea of red, like it often is for our home games, but with brand new people, if you like, just other United fans coming to Broadhurst Park for the first time. Admittedly, to watch United fantastically beat City in the final. There was a few teething issues with that. We've never actually hosted anything like that, like a fan park event before. We did it externally with another company, but it did seem everybody who went down there seemed to enjoy it. And everybody went on the pitch after the win and enjoyed themselves. So it's something that we're going to look into continue doing in the future. And it just goes to show that coming up to 20 years on, we've not forgotten our Manchester United roots as a club. We want as many United fans as possible to come along and to experience it if they haven't already before. And even if they have in the past come along to FC, maybe decided it wasn't for them, or decided that, leaving Manchester United or not watching United regularly isn't for them. I would encourage any United fan to come down again and sample our ground in the former Broadhurst Park, because obviously we did play in Bury for 9 years, and then we were quite nomadic in our promotion season in 2015-16 across Greater Manchester. But we have that excellent base at Broadhurst Park in Moston, where we've been for 8 years now. And it's just fantastic, and we're a club that we play in red, white and black. We sing United songs. We're a rejumbling of Manchester United Football Club as the club's name. So it's something that will always have that link to Manchester United and its fan culture.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to completely divert us from the season just gone, because there was other stuff aside from the league. I mean, the Phoenix Trophy. Again, seems like a fantastic institution that's a regular part of the campaign now, international tournament. Tell us a little bit about that, because actually many listeners won't know about it.
Yeah, so the Phoenix Trophy is a brilliant initiative. We played in it for 3 years now. It's been going for 3 years. We've played in it each year, and it's a European tournament for non-league clubs with a specific ethos, either you're supporter-owned or quite active in the local community. Like this season, we played a team in France and another team in Krakow in Poland. So this year it was 12 teams, 4 groups of 3, and the winner of each group went to the finals weekend, which was in Lake Garda in Italy this year.
Nice.
So there were 2 other English clubs this year, Enfield Town, who were the first breakaway club, if you like. They were the inspiration for AFC Wimbledon. They broke away from Enfield FC in 1999 and made a success of a fan-owned club. They're still fan-owned to this day. And they won promotion as well to the 6th tier. So they are also in the semi-finals, as were Lewes. Lewes are quite a famous team on the towards the south coast of England, who are quite well known for paying their men and women's team equally. And they're also supporter owned, I believe. So it was something. And there was a Welsh team as well, Lantwit Major. So it's a competition that's getting a lot more attention now in its 3rd year, coming up to its 4th year. And we managed to win it again for the 2nd time in 3 years. We beat Lewes in the semi-final, and then we beat Prague Raptors in the final. It was a repeat of the final in the first season, actually, against Prague Raptors. Comfortably beat them in the final, and the men's team may not have had a great time in the league this year, but to offer that to our players, how many non-league teams get to play abroad regularly, during the season and post-season as well, It's an incredible experience, not just for our fans, but for the players as well. And we'll be entering it for a 4th year running. And it means that all 3 of our teams, if you like, we've got a men's team, a women's team, and an academy. All 3 of our teams won a trophy this season. The men's team won the Phoenix Trophy, the women's team won the Manchester Cup, and the academy won their league. So all in all, there's some successes to enjoy in 2023-24.
How are you thinking about the 20th season and the celebrations, commemorations, commiserations?
Yeah,
a little bit of all of that, isn't
fantastic.
It? Yeah. So have you got big plans for the year?
So it's incredible, really, like to think that we're making it to our 20th season, given how so many people wrote us off at the start when we formed the club. Everyone, when it gets cold in the winter, they won't want to go to non-league games anymore. And Alan Gowling on Radio Manchester famously said it'll all be over by Christmas, which is something that whenever he meets an FC United fan, we don't let him forget that line. He even receives Christmas cards from some of us to this day as a result. So it's a good way of it's a really, really incredible milestone to get to the 20th year. And we're putting on events at the ground where fans will be able to stand up. It's like an open mic kind of thing where fans will be able to stand up and tell stories from our first season in the North West Counties League Division 2, when we went all over the northwest of England to play teams that most of us have never heard of, like teams like Blackpool Mechanics, Daisy Hill, Nelson, Castleton Gabriels, all these kind of clubs. A lot of them had to get moved to nearby professional football team grounds, such as Boundary Park in Oldham and other places, Bloomfield Road in Blackpool being a famous one. So it'll be a good chance for us to relive those early years. It should be good. There's quite a few fans who came along in those first few years who fell away after the first couple of seasons. Our average attendance was 3,000 for our first season. It dropped to 2,500 in the second, and then it kind of leveled out just under 2,000 for the subsequent years where it's remained. So it'll be a good chance for those fans to be reminded of those times, to perhaps come back and relive some of those memories. Also, just the further development of the club is something that we're really going to push in the 20th year as well. So this year we're introducing a women's academy to go alongside our men's academy. We're introducing an under-21s team, an under-17s team, and a women's development squad as well. So we're consistently expanding the club and the amount of recruitment we're doing and the teams that we're having. So the future development of the club is something that we're really going to push. We've also reached out to the Football Supporters Association, the FSA, in the hope of creating like a lobby block alongside fellow supporter-owned clubs, in order just to push back against some of the new rules and legislations that have been brought in by the top levels of football, such as the abolition of FA Cup replays, for example. That's something that's really going to hit lower league and non-league clubs quite hard. Obviously you don't get a giant killing FA Cup run every year, but that hope of getting a big team and perhaps getting a result and getting a replay, it's happened to us. We took Brighton to an FA Cup replay in the FA Cup second round in 2010, and the replay at Gig Lane is still to this day our highest home attendance. So that helps us no end in the subsequent years and helping us raise the money to build our own ground. And that's essentially been wrenched away. So the best way I would say for us to celebrate reaching a 20th year is just being more visible as a club that fights for change, not just at non-league level, but throughout the game in England, promoting the idea of supporter involvement, supporter ownership, and putting pressure on the Premier League and the FA to essentially try and stop catering to the big clubs all the time and think about the clubs at the bottom, at the grassroots level, which they claim to care about, but have decided to really shaft with legislation such as scrapping FA Cup replays and the like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that plus the expanded European Champions League. I mean, it may feel a long, long way from the 7th tier of English football, but it has an impact, doesn't it? And I don't expect a single person in the European Club Association or UEFA thought about the knock-on effect of that. And so, yeah, it's a real challenge. And the white paper that will not be turned into legislation for the independent football regulator may be picked up by the Labour Party post the election, although they haven't actually promised.
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
they haven't promised it, have they? But
when
I
that
guess...
came out, no. It's when that was announced, I remember just thinking, it's great that this has been announced, but let's see it actually happen and actually be put into action. And it's like you say, like with the expansion of the Champions League and the influence of UEFA and the pull and the influence they have over the FA and the Premier League, they're an organisation that are constantly reminding England that they're the only country with 20 teams in their top flight, with two cup competitions, with cup replays. As far as UEFA are concerned, English clubs already play too much football. And that's who, while the FA and the Premier League might look like bully boys towards the smaller clubs in England, such as ourselves, UEFA are essentially bullying them as well. So it's whilst it's a difficult situation for them, they do need to remember that try not to get pushed around so much by the men above them, and don't take it out on the people below them right at the bottom who are trying to do football differently.
Yeah, no, I mean, fully agree, and it's a real challenge. I mean, the entire football pyramid is loss making. Probably FC United is run sustainably, but that is the exception to the rule. And most Premier League clubs.
Well, we run quite sustainably. During the COVID years, we were quite comfortably in the black, right? Even though we didn't have any games taking place like everybody else. As a result, we didn't have much expenditure. So a lot of our fans were donating what they would normally spend at FC United to the club to make sure it kept running during those barren years. And as a result, we were quite comfortably in the black for a year or two. Mm-hmm. The club has made a loss over the last 3 seasons, but it's been gradually coming down. We made a 6-figure loss in 2022. It went down to a 5-figure loss for 2023, and it's now a 4-figure loss for 2024. So, and the only reason we made a loss this season is because we had 4 Saturday home games postponed and another one cancelled because the team in our league sadly folded. And again, a common occurrence at non-league.
Yeah.
Due to the competitive nature that I mentioned earlier. So many clubs are getting extra investment, but so many other clubs are being left by the wayside. And as a result, your budget for 21 home games and only 20 take part, that does have an impact.
Yeah.
And if the adverse weather that happened in the early part of this calendar year, that really did have an effect on us as well. We lost 4 Saturday home games, and as a result, made a small loss this season. But the fact that we're making smaller losses and will eventually turn an operating profit, we're very confident we're going to turn an operating profit in this coming season, based on the progress we've been making over the last 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. And that's in credit to the... Sorry, go on.
Has there ever been any temptation to change the way the club is run? I mean, famously, don't have a front shirt sponsor, have been very careful about the kinds of sponsorships, have been very fan-friendly in terms of pricing. I mean, the temptation there's, of course, to seek extra money and chase the dream like everyone else, and especially with outside investment coming into non-leagues. Is there ever pressure to change how the club is run as a result?
Well, there's always those conversations. I mean, the whole point of FC United, though, and the majority of our fan base get this, is that the whole point is to see how far we can go while maintaining the principles of a fan-run club that puts its supporters first. If there were to be any major upheaval, any major changes, those changes would have to be put to the fans. So you get it now and again on like the internet forums that we have, and the discussions in the ground and things like that at games. Should we finally have a shirt sponsor after all these years? And if one of our fans wants to put that forward and get 5 other members to back that resolution, they can put it forward as a resolution at one of our general meetings. We have 2 each season. And if you feel like FC United should have a shirt sponsor, you can make the case for it. With the backing of 5 other members that are signatories to it, and if the resolution passes with a 2/3 majority, then the club is legally binding to do it. I doubt that would ever happen personally, because we're very proud of the fact that we've never had a shirt sponsor. It's one of our identifying features, if you like. The fact that one of our founding principles is to avoid outright commercialism. As far as our fans are concerned, a shirt sponsor is outright commercialism. It's one of the things that cropped up in the 80s that gradually led to the over-commercialization of the game, and it's not something we particularly want to have. But as you say, as a result of that, we do occasionally struggle to attract sponsors because we do have a main sponsor, and we do have many smaller sponsors that work with us, but not having a company's logo on the front of the shirt, that does put off a lot of main sponsors. But at the same time, that's the price you pay for trying to have that, for having that principle, really. And there is the temptation, as I say, that we do have those discussions as fans. Should we compromise on this, that, or the other? And obviously, AFC Wimbledon are probably the best example of a successful fan-owned club in the English pyramid. And even they had to sell 20% of their stake in order to build their new Plough Lane ground. They got quite lucky in their early years in the sense that they were able to purchase Kingsmeadow from Kingstonian after just a year or two of being in existence, because Kingstonian was struggling. But they always wanted to return to Plough Lane, their spiritual home, and they managed it. But can you imagine the cost of building a brand new football stadium in southwest London?
Yeah.
They did have to compromise on their principles somewhat. So that is something that may rear its head at some point. In order for us to progress or to pay off whatever debt we have on the ground, maybe we will have to have those discussions. But the beauty of FC United is, because it's a fan-owned club, and because we have to say as supporters, that's entirely up to us. Yeah. And as it's going by that democratic model, then whatever the fans' wishes are, so it shall be.
All right. Well, this is a good segue. Down the road at Manchester United, fans have, well, let's say almost no say in how the club is run, unless we break into the ground or make a big fuss on the internet, which sometimes
taking direct action, like in 2021. Yeah,
well, direct action. Sometimes internet groundswell of opinion does make a difference, as we saw with let's say Mason Greenwood's planned reintegration into the team. The fans were not having that, and that was made quite clear to the club, and they backed down. But so I think we talked about this a year ago. That's how long the process took. But Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos Group have bought 27 and a bit % of Manchester United and making a lot of structural changes. It doesn't seem that anything's like really changed in terms of what the club ethos is, though. So how did FC United fans react to that, or was it just so long coming that it didn't change anyone's opinion of what that meant?
Well, yeah, the Ineos takeover, the Ineos stake in the club didn't really change a lot of things, to be honest, in the sense that, it was 25% stake that he's purchased. Obviously, he bills himself as a local lad from Failsworth, and self-made and proud Manchester United fan with a Chelsea season ticket, interestingly. So he's not a Glazer. That was the main thing he had going for him, really, in the sense that he's somebody who was, he has a passion for sport. He has a passion for football specifically. But we need to see wholesale changes at Old Trafford for the fan experience, for us to be even mildly interested in dropping everything and coming back. I mean, FC United, so many people, so many thousands of us have put everything into FC United and what it means to us. And we're very proud to still be Manchester United fans and to have that a spiritual link with the club as United fans. But regardless of who is owning Manchester United, if the experience doesn't improve for the fans, then it's not really something we would consider dropping and coming back to. And whilst I understand, obviously, there's there's been examples of fans having more influence. Like must have got more, are able to talk to people more at Manchester United now. The TRA have got a presence within the stadium. Like them or loathe them, there's an initiative to create more atmosphere within the stadium, and they've worked with the club to do that. But with regards to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, at the end of the day, he's a petrochemicals billionaire, and there's a moral question there as well. Like a lot of people were attracted by FC United because they were just abhorred by what the Glazers stood for.
Mm-hmm.
As vulture capitalists from Florida who owned all sorts of businesses and treated tenants that they were in charge of their trailer parks like garbage and things like that. It's the same kind of moral question with Jim Ratcliffe. How ethical are Ineos as a company?
Mm-hmm.
Do we really want to be giving our money to somebody who's made his fortune, trying to sell fracking to the world and things like that? So there's also those conversations happening. And whilst it's welcome news that the Glazers are reducing their influence and are hopefully looking to sell up and go elsewhere, there's so much that needs to change at Manchester United. We've all seen how Old Trafford is essentially crumbling to bits with zero investment, because at the end of the day, the match-going fan doesn't matter. It's only the football side of things that Jim Ratcliffe is in charge of for the time being, rather than the infrastructure of the club, which also needs a major overhaul. So we're just going to have to wait and see, and see who or what or how much is going to change at Manchester United with this, partial change of ownership.
Yeah.
But I don't think many of us will go away from FC United. We're enjoying ourselves too much at non-league level.
Yeah.
And just so excited to see how much further the project can go.
Yes, I mean, I think the ethical considerations are basically not discussed. I mean, I had a company on about a year ago, actually, talking about how they're suing Ineos because of just how polluting that company is. Either in the plastics productions or the oil refinery, and of course they work in areas of the world, let's say, where the regimes are not exactly human rights friendly. So, but that discussion is basically non-existent. And for better or worse. I guess it'd probably be true to say there aren't many squeaky clean billionaires. Is he the worst one? No. Is he the best? Definitely not. Definitely not.
No, so there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire, really. And that's certainly the case with Sir Jim, regardless of whether he's local or a United fan.
Yeah. And no communication between the clubs.
No. We wouldn't approach them, really. I mean, the fact is, the Glazers still own the vast majority of the club, and it's about it's about refusing to recognise their ownership of the club.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be actively boycotting the club and be contacting them. Certainly at this stage. I mean, never rule out what may happen in the future, obviously, with potential ownership changes and potential dialogue between the two clubs. But it's just not something that we would entertain, really. I mean, we even had one of our previous women's team managers actually arranged a friendly between our FC United's women's team and Manchester United's women's team. He didn't really... I believe he was a City fan, the coach in question. So he didn't really get perhaps our ethos and what we were about. So he took it upon himself to arrange that friendly, and we said, "What the hell are you doing? We can't." As much as we're all still Manchester United fans, we don't want that dilemma of we don't want that dilemma of FC United versus Manchester United one day. That's a common question we get. What would you do if that happens? And we'd just rather cross the bridge when it comes to it. But to acknowledge the Glazer ownership of Manchester United, it's just something that we can't do, because we gave it all up on principle in 2005. But yeah, who knows? Like in the future, it may happen depending on ownership changes. But we would need to see a lot more supporter involvement, and the supporters of Manchester United, particularly the match-going supporters, treated a lot better than they have been over the last 20 to 30 years.
Yes, well, time will tell whether that is true or not. Amazingly, despite ticket prices going up, although they were frozen for about a decade, they're now going up again at all Premier League clubs, but at Manchester United too. And the infrastructure is not very good. You can't take the train to the ground anymore, and the team was pretty shite on the pitch. But amazingly, there's appears to be more demand than ever. So I guess that's the gravitational pull of United, despite the owners treating fans like shit for best part of 20 years now. So what are your hopes and dreams for the year to come, and 20th season, marking that, the celebrations, be back in the black financially? Are there goals? Are you pushing for promotion? I mean, does that matter?
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, the football on the pitch is as important as anything. It's not the most important thing for us, obviously. Providing an affordable, enjoyable experience for United fans is the main goal that we have. But in order to do that, you want to have an entertaining team on the pitch, and we certainly would like to have a better season than last season. The budget that we had, if anything, we kind of exceeded expectation based on the budget we had. Despite, as I've said before, despite our crowds, our playing budget is relatively low due to the other financial commitments we have. But as I said, it is being increased next season. We're looking forward to a better one, because the fans that turn up, like the atmosphere we create, we know that drives on the players, because it's just not something that that most players are used to at this level. There's only a handful of clubs like ourselves who get more than 1,500 fans per game at level 7 and level 6 and level 7 of non-league football and below. And we get higher attendances than many professional clubs in the National League and the National League North. Yeah. So a lot of players come not just because they wanting to earn money, but because they want to play in front of a big crowd, and we'll always have that draw. And it's something that's attracted players to us in the past, and it's something that will attract again. And obviously the Phoenix Trophy will be competing in it next year, as well as champions. So there's always that to draw players to us, free trips abroad. The chance to play. I mean, like last season, we played in the San Siro. The finals weekend of the Phoenix Trophy was in the San Siro itself. So there's always that to bring players along. And like I say, we're so excited to just finally reach that 20-year milestone, that we're expanding the development of the club, and we're going to do everything we can to get more and more people behind into the ground, into Broadhurst Park, watching FC United. Getting on the terraces, singing United songs, just as it used to be at Old Trafford back in the day. It's fantastic that alternative exists, I think, for United fans, that you can do that. You can pop along to FC United if Manchester United aren't playing, if United are playing on a different day, if it's an international weekend, whatever. There's always that. There's always that for United fans in the form of FC United. Yeah. And as I say, it's an image of what we want Manchester United to be. And to finally get to our 20th season, it's really, really exciting.
Yeah, and I fully endorse United fans going along. My local club here, we get about 2,500 fans-ish. Fourth tier of the US soccer scene. There's more than 100 clubs in that tier, so I mean, call it whatever tier you want. I think it's probably about.
Well, that's where I believe that's where Detroit City were when we played them in a friendly.
Right?
Tier club.
Yeah, USL 2. Yes, that is right. Yeah, same. So it's probably a very similar standard. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're in the USL now, but they were in the National Premier Soccer League. I think it was known as the NPSL back then. And that was an amazing trip, being able to go out to Detroit in 2016 to play to play friendly against them.
Yeah.
All paid for by Detroit City as well, because they wanted to for the club, not necessarily for the fans, sadly. Yeah, and that's another great thing about FC United. Even before the Phoenix Trophy, we've got a lot of offers from all over Europe and the world to come out and play a friendly, because they'd heard about what we've achieved, what we're trying to achieve in the future, the ethos of the club. You know, we've been to St. Pauli in Germany, we've been to Djurgårdens in Stockholm, Winterthur in Switzerland twice, all the way to Detroit, all the way to South Korea to play a team called Bucheon, who broke away from Jeju United when they got moved to an island off South Korea. So they're essentially the South Korean FC United, if you like, and they invited us out about 15 years ago, and our players got to play in front of about 15 to 20,000 people. So it's an incredible journey we've been on, going all over Europe, going all over the world, and yeah, it's just continuing that tradition, if you like, of United being pioneers in Europe. So United are the first team to play in a European competition, and we perhaps are the first one of the first English non-league teams to play in established European tournaments. So it continues that fine tradition of United trailblazing across Europe, if you like.
Very good. Well, if you ever want to come play a friendly in sunny Seattle, the weather's almost exactly the same as Manchester. It rains for 9 months a year. You're more than welcome.
Northwest, it's not exactly sunshine central, is it? Oh, we'd love to. Honestly, I would absolutely love that, to go back to the States again. Whether or not our pockets would be able to afford that, given these Phoenix Trophy trips that we're going on. I don't know if we'll ever have an exotic friendly like that again for a while, like the Detroit one, like the St. Pauli one. But we get, like I say, we get so many offers. We're even going to Wales in pre-season this season, going to play Bangor 1876 away at their ground. Their first ever game was against us. They broke away from Bangor City, who are now defunct, and Bangor 1876 are continuing the legacy of football in that area of Wales. So we've finally got a return friendly against them. So even though it's only Wales, still getting to play internationally, if you like, against a team in a different league system.
Very good.
So we'll see what happens with the Phoenix Trophy next season as well.
Well, on that note, thank you, George. Good luck with the season ahead and the 20th season. Hopefully more United fans will go check the club out this year. I mean, again, with the absolutely mega length European competition in the season to come. It's an unbelievable amount of football coming up of not highest standard, I'd say, the Europa League, but it'll be Thursday, Sunday, which is a crap schedule, and but it also gives people the opportunity to go and check FC United out and celebrations for the 20th season. As you say, many people didn't expect FC United to get this far, but you have, and you're here to stay. So congrats on that, and I'll check in with you in a year's time, and we'll see where we are.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it already. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Well, George, thank you very much. Thanks everyone for listening. Bye now.